Oh, I dig the aesthetic.
And we're here. Cool. So everyone will be able to hear myself and Finn now and
All right, good stuff. I'm gonna go share the post.
cool.
There's no photo yet, I believe.
Yeah. Should come through shortly. There it goes. Should come up on our end
Good
now.
stuff. I'm gonna go share this to my page.
I've got a bit of music playing in the background as well. Royalty free, I'm not silly.
Don't want to get sued, do we?
No.
You know what I mean? That bad optics. All right.
Oh,
Well,
I
we're
realised
live.
why the lighting wasn't that good. Hang on. I don't have lights.
Our
on.
lighting should be a bit better now.
Yeah, it might help if I actually have the lights turned on.
Yeah, maybe.
Thanks. So, yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to... What are we going to call this, Finn?
All right, we'll just call it chatting. I would say. Well, depends if we want to be official, right? If we want it to be a bit, stuck up, we'll call it. All right, having discussing
Politics.
politics with you know what I mean? Remember, like the independent candidate for Bulimba with my
Let's keep it casual.
fellow independent for
It's a Sunday.
New South Wales.
It's a Sunday. Let's keep it cash.
I agree. I mean, look, dude, I only got a shirt on. Normally, I wear like a blazer, and
Yeah.
you're rocking the tank top. So I reckon if we keep
Oh,
it
it's not a
cash.
tank top. Sorry. Oh,
Oh, my bad. Oh, skirt. Oh, I dig
fine.
the aesthetic. It looked like one from
Yeah, it does.
like from the top. But yeah, like I'm not wearing a blazer. So I went on a lovely date with this girl, and she's like, "You're not wearing a blazer," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
All right, but to get into the topic, as much as I love the casual stuff, we're talking about mental health.
Yes. So that's the first thing I wanna. We'll do. Actually, let's do a bit of a casual thing. Just to start off, we'll kick off
All right,
the mental health a bit further in.
we'll do casual, and then we'll just let's review the topics we're going to discuss.
That's it. So, afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
I got a new microphone, so you'll be able to hear me better. I've reduced the amount of delay in the stream as well, which will be good, so I can read the questions quicker. We've
It
got
definitely
Finn.
helps.
Yeah, that's it. We've got Finn with his electro, what are they, core flutes?
They turned out amazing, right? Like I've been doing lots of roadsides, and
Yeah.
what I do when I roadside is I get my boxing gloves because I'm a fighter, right? And so when people drive past me, I just hear non-stop honking, and so I imagine that people from the back go, "Is there a traffic accident?" And I go, "No, it's the independent for Bulimba."
That's
And
it.
so the election signs are very important.
Yeah, I intend to get a few. Just gotta find some decent places to put them.
Well, you're doing very well. Like I imagine if you get yours pumped out, your election's in like 4 years, so it's 2023.
3 years, so it's 2023.
You can actually literally door knock the entire electorate. So I reckon
Yeah.
get the election signs. You can always change them too.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. I'll start. I want to start with the election signs next year when I've got a bit more hair to me. So at the moment it's fairly short. That's
oh yeah, that makes sense. Like my hair, I need to get a haircut. My hair's getting a bit too thick. That's
I
the
don't know.
Italian
I reckon it
genes.
looks alright. I think
Nah, it's a bit.
It's got a bit of volume there, which it looks good.
Hair's important. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I feel like with politics, it's sort of like show business for ugly people. So what I mean, and so as an ugly person, I'm a very ugly man. I can say that without it being rude.
That's it.
But,
I mean, I'm not the best looking.
It's about the heart. It's about the personality. That's what it's
That's
about.
it.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And I feel you got a good personality, and that's
Oh.
important.
That's it. That's what I said to one of my supporters the other day. Was it's you can be as experienced as you want, but if your heart's not in the right place, then there's no point in being in politics.
That's so true. That is so true.
It is. And by the way, everyone, this isn't tea. This is just soft drink. It's like
Well, that's
trying
it,
to
right?
look-
Politics is about aesthetics. So the same way that I wear boxing gloves to show that I'm a fighter,
That's
you
it.
can put in your But that stuff's important, right? Symbolism in politics is vital
That's it.
because you got to communicate messages.
And
And I
that's
feel
it.
like if your heart is in the right place, but for me, like if my passion disappears, I want to leave politics the next day. There's no point.
That's it. Without
At that
passion.
point, you got to leave it and let someone who is passionate take your place.
Yeah, that's
And so
it.
we have these fossils who are in there, who have been around in politics for 40 years, haven't done any changes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you here? What do you want to change? They don't want
That's
to
it.
change anything. They're just taking up space.
That's
in my
completely
opinion.
it.
And what I love is these live streams, right? Because
Yeah.
no one else in politics does these. No one.
yeah, that's it.
'Cause
No one,
it's
nobody
too much
does.
risk.
Nobody does. It's that's why I've set up a YouTube channel. I've set up Twitch. I've set up a Discord channel. That was all in the space of the last couple of days. I've just set up really a wide basis of communication for me. Because at the moment, the best way to contact your local MP is what? An email and a phone call.
It's just rubbish, right? It's like that you
Exactly.
gotta give them a phone call, talk to their staff, or book an appointment. No,
That's it.
you really should be able to just easily get in touch.
That's
Because
it.
a big political donator who gives them 10 grand, I bet they have the number, and I bet if they give a call, they'll get picked
That's
up
it.
the first ring. You
That's
should
it.
not have that double standard.
Exactly. And you know what? You and I, we're young people, Finn. We're in this
I know we
generation.
talk about young issues, right? Don't we go, young people need this, and I go, well, I'm still young, but
That's
it's
it.
good
But we're
because we have
we're
vitality
in
and
this,
energy.
we're in this lucky position where we're in this young generation where we are so exposed to all these different new technologies, and I think from previous generations we're not as experienced, but we're a lot more open to change and ideas.
Well, I don't know, like technology is moving past me, believe it or not. Like,
Oh, it's gonna move
it's like
past me
what,
too.
like what is the the TikTok?
Yeah,
the
I don't
Fortnite,
get that. I don't
you know?
get TikTok. But you know what?
What-
If that's a way that people like to creatively express themselves, and you know what? If they're doing that and they're not out graffitiing or something, I'd prefer.
Well, art is important. Art in
Exactly.
politics is important. So, like, what I do is, like, I'm a very simple person that I love politics and that I literally do work on it 10, 12 hours a day because I just love it. But when I'm not working on it, I like to paint.
Yep.
And this is my latest painting that I did. And I like abstract, which is just expression of strong colors,
Yep.
the clash. So it sort of looks ugly, right? But then also the more earthy tones.
Yeah, art is a very complicated thing, and it much reflects the human species, I guess. Like myself, I'm into modern.
What would you say
trends.
politics is an art?
I wouldn't say it's an art. I'd say it's more of a passion.
Interesting.
I would say politics, it's not an art in the way that it creatively expresses yourself, but it is, in a sense, a way of expressing the views of multiple people. Actually, you know what? I'll change my opinion on that. I think it is a bit of an art.
Yeah, because I would say it's an art because I sort of feel like politics is you're meant to be this conductor of an orchestra.
That's
Where
it.
I have a lot of ideas where if I could spend 40 hours digging deep, I would have brilliant ideas on certain topics, but I can't do that because I don't have enough time. And so the job of a politician is to be that orchestra of the nation and of the people.
Yeah.
And you actually do have to remove yourself almost from, I wouldn't call it secular because it's not
Yep.
really about organized religion, but it's more about being able to actually feel the soul of the country and that sort of essence of collective understanding of what people want.
Yeah.
And I feel that a big issue we have in politics is that people, they're too analytical. They go statistics, and we look at opinion polls, right? They take someone's opinion 20 days out from the election. They go, well, you've lost 5 points in your opinion poll, so we're going to replace you with someone who has more points. That's very counterintuitive understanding of politics.
Yeah.
And I feel that we can really see how we get victimized by that secular understanding
Yep.
just by the fact that it does, in a way, it removes power from the people and it places it in the hands of people who are able to really understand that more, that statistical understanding of politics, which by effect sort of disproportionately marginalizes all the people who haven't gone to university, all the people
Yeah.
who haven't just want to live their lives and who sort of know it in their heart what is right and what is wrong.
That's it.
But also, too, I believe in science. That's not me denying science. It's just saying that I feel politics is more of an art than it is a skill. and that
Yes.
there's an innate nature to art where it's a innate quality.
Yeah,
And so when I
look,
launched my campaign, just finish this quickly and then you can
Yeah.
comment on it.
look,
I sort of felt that I had to put myself out in front of the public and then they could sort of judge me. And there's nothing that you can do. You know, either people like you or they don't like you.
That's
They like
it.
what you say or they don't. And you can't change it. You can't buy that. It's just an innate quality, which is what makes politics and art for me. But I would be interested to hear what you have to say, Jezebel.
well, look, again, feel free to call me Jazz, because
Jazz?
my name's a mouthful, so, you know.
No, it's okay. I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah, call me Jazz.
I'll call you Jazz then.
Yeah,
I got a short name, so it's okay. You know, you can't shorten
Exactly.
Finn. You know?
I like to shorten people's names, and I do it in, you know, without thinking about it, sometimes.
Yeah,
I
I can be
get-
making offend people, but you know, I feel like if you
Oh,
do it with
look.
the right intentions, it's okay.
That's it.
You know what I
I
mean?
I think in today's day and age, saying someone's full name kind of sounds a little too professional, I guess.
We're in a weird time though, aren't we? It's like we're in this
Yeah.
time where people don't want you to, politics or even just people don't want that disconnect. They actually want to understand what you're about. And so before they could sort of do like, we're in charge and you're not. Whereas now I feel like people want their politicians to have these conversations and just to talk.
Yeah,
And you compare what we're doing compared to our political opponents. Our
That's
opponents
it.
aren't doing this. They're not letting people inside their lives so they can actually understand how they react to certain ideas with no script. I don't have a script, you don't have a script.
no,
What we're saying is authentic. And while
Exactly.
they have these very controlled narratives where you don't know what they actually believe.
yeah, that's it. I mean, again, going back to the, like, I guess the art of politics, we'll call it. I think politics, it's a bit hard to call it an art and not a profession, because it's a bit of both. It's
Yeah, I agree.
I think the best way to put it into, I guess, a good way to visualize it is like acting. Acting is a profession, but it's also an art. Because to be able to act, you have to have that emotion and drive behind you to be able to project yourself in front of people and really just make people believe that you are that person.
Well, I feel that politics, it's not a profession. I think the issue is that like democracies are very special in that you basically have theoretically extremely powerful positions of trust
Yeah.
and control over a country, and it's chosen by the people. In other countries, it's a dictatorship where you don't have a say.
Yeah,
And so to treat politics as just a job where you clock in and out of 40 hours a week and you don't do overtime or you don't, is in my opinion, showing a disrespect to the trust that is given to you.
yeah,
Because it's not about money for me. Like if I wanted money, I could just be doing business, make $500,000 a year at this point, probably.
or be the Prime
And
Minister
so-
in this case.
I could honestly feel like I could get paid $0 as long as I had like a house and I had, you know, food and stuff and everyone would have kids, you know, them taken care of. I wouldn't take a cent.
I'm honestly the same. If, with being in politics, if I can get a house and be able to maintain my bike and look after my family, then honestly, I have no other need for the amount of money that they get paid. Other than
They're
really
greedy,
just
aren't
to
they? They
cover
keep wanting to
necessities.
increase their pay, you know?
Yeah.
Like why?
Well, one of my promises is to minimise the amount that they get. So, for example, I
Like
want to
nurses,
reduce-
look how hard nurses work, you know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
like politicians work hard, yes, but nurses, they work hard as well.
Well,
know?
I would say it's perspective, but also that you've got to remember that. Look, I don't think politicians at the moment deserve the wages they are being paid.
Yeah, same
of the
here. I'm in
politicians-
agreement. Lazy.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
they are.
A lot of the politicians these days are lazy. And I personally believe that, you know, the people deserve people who work for them.
Actually care, I believe that, you know?
Exactly. I mean, look at our politicians now. They're not working within our best interests.
They're not. And I feel like people can just feel it in their soul, they can feel it in their heart because, and like I can talk endlessly about my critiques of the system, I don't have to. Because they've had all like, where's the national vision, you know? Where are the passion projects? They don't even have them. It's just this static narrative where it's like the same, there's no change. There's no progression.
That's it. And I would like to invite anyone who's watching to. I do apologise, Matthew. I did just see your comment, so I apologise for not reading that. I was in a different stream, so it's a bit hard to bounce between the two.
Yeah, we have a few streams, don't we?
Yeah.
Wait, so which? Yeah, okay.
I
So if you want to actually comment, please go to Jezebel, Jazz's Facebook page.
Are you getting some on your page? Are you?
No, just to make it simple.
Yeah. No, I was just
to
reading
make
the
it
comments here. This is fantastic accountability and ease of access to contact our reps. Yeah, authentic, so true. Yeah, look, I really appreciate that that comment sentiment there, Matthew. And something I want to talk about before we go into mental health in the next couple of minutes is something that I would like to get changed nationally in regards to, and you coming from a bit of a business perspective might also agree with this, but termination of a contract. I was thinking one of the best things we could probably do as a nation with workers' rights is when someone hands in their resignation, a business has to wait 48 hours before they can accept it. I say this.
I'd have to look into it more. Because that's the issue, right? Like, we do live streams, we talk off the cuff, but some issues I really do have to be honest and say, I need to study it, I need to talk to people and look at the facts.
Oh, look, no, that's okay.
I won't go. Yeah.
But sort of just from the heart sort of thing, and the way I look at it is if you give that 48 hours, because, you know, someone gets frustrated at work and turns around and goes, oh, I quit, and sends in their resignation, and then they go, oh shit, I've made a mistake. They have that, 2 days, let's say it's on Friday, they've got that weekend to calm down a bit and then go, okay, that was a mistake. And sort of, retraction letter and fix the mistake and have a chat with their managers. That's just personal view. You don't have to agree with that, or you can agree with it. It's really up to you.
Or we just don't have anything to say and I need to look into it more.
Yeah, no,
that's
okay.
Sense. Like, I will look into it and we can talk about it next time we talk to each other.
That's it. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about before we go into mental health?
I would just say we really just need to look at the current system, and people know it in their heart that it's wrong. Because you look in Queensland, like, I was worried 2 days ago because I thought I'd have to go to jail for half a year because they changed the law and they put forward a law that would have locked me up for reporting on people who have been referred to the Anti-Corruption Commission during the election.
Yeah.
And I mean, if during an election you don't feel like the people deserve to know whether or not the current people seeking re-election are being investigated for corruption.
Yep.
And the fact that the actual, the head of the party who put forward that, the government, the Premier, she explicitly argued against that, 4 years ago in an op-ed, saying that it was wrong to do that, to cover up that transparency.
Yeah, something tells me
And so, I mean, that's just transparently corrupt, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't have to really make an argument,
Yeah, no, look, I really think that... I looked at that and I was reading into that, and I really don't think she made that call. I think someone else in the party has proposed to put it forward.
I mean, the buck stops with her, to be honest, in my opinion.
And
if
you'll
you're a
probably
leader, it's your
find...
responsibility.
Yeah, you'll probably find as well that person will be removed.
I just think just a sign of a rotten system where they were willing to do it. Perfectly willing to pass that law that would have put me in jail. The current member for Bulimba, as a member of the Labor Party, would have likely voted with the party due to party discipline. That is wrong.
Yeah.
Morally wrong. And the fact that they actually walked it back shows they lack conviction, because it's not even an issue of political disagreement. If they actually believed in it, they would have stood by it and they would have made their case to the people. Murdoch, for instance, smearing politicians, okay. They would have made that case, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And the BS excuse they gave the people was that only 4% of corruption allegations are substantiated. Then I go, well, hold on. Politicians write laws, so the corrupt politicians who are being investigated quite literally wrote the anti-corruption laws, and they wrote them in such a way where the average person can go, that's corrupt, but the tribunal will go, that isn't legally corrupt.
Yeah, I think that is something that definitely needs to be reworked, the anti-corruption system.
Well, ultimately, it should be written by the people via referendum. I think that makes a lot more sense, because politicians write laws. You trust them to. When they write anti-corruption laws, they leave in loopholes if they're corrupt. The same way that it's illegal to take a bribe, but you can go do favors for the big banks and then go on a speaking circuit where they pay you 50 grand for a 5-minute speech? Are they paying you 50 grand because you gave a good speech, or are they paying you that money because you looked after them?
Yeah.
And the fact that both major parties take campaign donations from the big banks, just goes to show. And I guess another issue that's more closer to you, Jazz, is just the water.
Yes.
Wars, right? The LNP or the Labor Liberals voted no in New South Wales to deny us the right to see how much of our water is, number one, owned by politicians who are profiting off it, owned by foreign countries. And so to actually search that it would probably cost me about $500,000 if I want to look and find out the exact numbers. And so I'd have to put the house up for a sale on the market if I was a politician. I wanted to actually find out just how much we're being victimized. Again, these people, they're voting against the people.
That's it. No, the only way you can do it is to gain a majority government, or find a party that's willing to vote with you. I know in New South Wales that a lot of the country Labor members are with the Shooter Fishers farmers in getting that water corruption bill through. I'm not too sure how well it's working, how well they're voting for it with sort of inner New South Wales, more inner city communities.
Well, this isn't really even an issue, right? It's like I live in a capital city of Queensland. I live in Brisbane, and I know it in my heart that that's wrong.
Yeah.
And if you actually did I believe in democracy, I believe in freedom. If you actually asked the people if they wanted this, they would all say that yes, we do want it to be open and transparent.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I believe it does really come down to the fact that the actual voters are there for us to achieve power, for us to get elected.
Yeah.
But the issue is, don't have enough good people standing up for what is right. And those that do, they get steamrolled because the politicians have had 20, 30 years to do dirty tricks and they've mastered them. Whereas the good people who go in don't have that experience and they just get walked over.
Yeah, they get absolutely railed, and then you'll find that all the big media powers will come out against them, and they'll just throw everything to smear that that politician so they can't win. Because, and this is what I'm realising here in Penrith.
That's why social media is important, because you can have a direct audience. And if you can build that trust, they can't cut you off.
Exactly.
They can't shut you up.
Exactly. And this will probably kill me politically, but
I said, if you look at my live stream, there's probably enough stuff I've said in there that they will twist to use against me, but I don't care.
Well,
I'm in this for the right reasons. I'm going to be transparent about
That's it. But I won't go on networks like Sky News. If I get asked for an interview, I will turn it down blatantly because I don't trust them.
I would go on Sky News, and I'll go on Sky News for the reason that ultimately, they're biased. And it's like, yes, like politically we might have disagreements, but there's a lot of issues like with water in China that I agree with.
Well, yeah,
that China shouldn't own our water.
I do agree with that. I just don't agree with how Sky News does things and reports on things.
That's what your gut says, trust it. Because ultimately we just need people who genuinely actually believe in what they're doing. We need new blood, we need passionate blood.
That's it. Bear with me. I'm just going to go get my statistic paper, so if you want to just answer Matthew's question while I go grab them.
I'll go for that.
I was a bit of a goose and forgot.
Matthew.
So I'll be back.
Alright. Let me get your question up. Sorry about the backlight. Okay, Matthew, why would I be jailed, right? So basically, Matthew, to put it into perspective, a few days ago, the Queensland government, which is formed by the Labor Party, put forward a bill that would make it illegal with a penalty of up to 6 months in jail for people to report on political candidates or representatives who are being referred to Queensland's Anti-Corruption Commission during an election period. And so I talk about how Jackie Trad, who was the former Deputy Premier of Queensland, resigned from her position because she was referred to the Corruption Commission. Now, she was cleared of her second corruption allegation, but the subtext was quite simply that what she did wasn't legally corrupt, but it contributed to feelings of corruption, right? That people felt that it could be corrupt. She was referred again recently, and Labor tried to slam home this bill, which they can do because Queensland only has one House of Parliament, And so if you control the House of Parliament and you pass a law, it gets approved. And so there was massive backlash against this because, quite frankly, going to jail, like, it's an election period. If politicians are going to jail for corruption, or they're being reported to the Corruption Commission for corruption, who have actually said these allegations have merit, we're going to investigate, the people deserve to know during an election cycle. And what happens is oftentimes people only get referred during election cycles because they know that if you refer someone for corruption, say 2 years out from an election, by the time they get investigated, it will blow over. And so for me, what makes this particularly egregious is that the deputy or the premier of Queensland wrote an op-ed where she explicitly condemned similar legislation and said it was like, it was wrong. And yet she did it anyway. And these are such spineless bastards that they actually walked back on that proposed law. And so quite literally, they would have put me in jail for 6 months. So I was freaking out. I said, would I have to delete my posts I made about this stuff? If they backdated it a few weeks, would I have to delete my posts? What if someone had screenshotted my post and they were trying to use that against me? Because we are making a bit of a stir here in the Bulimba electorate, in the sense that we're picking up a lot of traction. And I believe that actually scares the establishment, because they go, compared to our campaign, this person who's new to politics is picking up a lot of traction and people are talking about him. And so I just feel it in my heart that this law is so egregious that they tried to do it. It's just Google it. If you want to have a look into it yourself and verify that I'm not bullshitting you, type in Queensland corruption law, search by news, and you can actually read it for yourself and get like a balanced take. But in my opinion, it's just wrong. And it's a sign that they are scared. And that's not even and also what's even worse is that a few months ago, they signed into law a new election bill to amend the Electoral Act, which governs how elections are run in Queensland. And they did so, they gave the minor parties only 24 hours of notice, and they rammed through like 60 amendments that disproportionately benefited the Labor Party and increased election funding from $3 to $6, which effectively has taken $60 million, in my opinion, from the taxpayer and handed it to the Labor Party and to the corrupt political establishment, which isn't just Labor, it's both sides of Parliament. And the fact that they actually tried to put me in jail, because that's what it is, that's a direct attack against me in the work that I'm doing to call out corruption. It's one of the biggest issues that we have in Queensland, with like Logan City Council sacked. All these councils, and right now, according to yesterday, another city council in Queensland is being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. And so we have systemic corruption in Queensland, and they wanted to make it illegal with penalty of jail for me to talk about that in an election. Just imagine that, right? Imagine if your opponents were corrupt and you were legally prevented and gagged from talking about that corruption. You couldn't say anything, otherwise they would lock you up. It's just a disgrace. It is just a disgrace, and I am sick of it, and we need political change, in my opinion. But I'll let Jazz continue. We're talking about mental health now, is that correct?
Yeah, sorry, I just went quiet there. I was just going through all my notes and just realised I could probably bring them up on stream so people could have a bit of a look as well. So bear with me, everyone. I'm just going to have a bit of a quick whiz and make sure I have got all my information here. However, very relevant, as I just sort of looked through this, was I got some news the other night, start of the week, that one of my friends had ended up in hospital due to self-harm. So
yeah, I've had a friend who passed away due to mental suicide or whatever earlier this year.
Yep.
And so it's definitely a big issue,
Yeah, and I won't. So any of those things, I won't mention names, by the way.
Yeah, it's all right. It's definitely a sensitive issue. We've got to talk about it.
Definitely. And at 5 o'clock, I will start on a bit of my story as well, and sort of let into people on where I stand and what's happened in the past and what I look to seek out in the future type thing. And
mental health is broken at the moment. That's for sure.
It is absolutely
the current system
broken.
is beyond broken.
It is.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's failed our people. It's failed you. It's failed me.
Yep.
And
I do I would really just like to put this out to all those who are watching at the moment, that if you are feeling in a bit of a dark or bad place, please reach out to myself, and I'm sure Finn is also very welcoming. Just realised people can see my bra strap there.
What I would say is, if you are struggling, like, look, I'll be honest, right? So, like, I got out of a 1.5 year relationship this year, and I would say that COVID-19 and just the effects that it's had on our national psyche contributed to that. And so this year has been very tough for a lot of people, myself included, in a sense. But I want everyone to know that we're all human beings, we all love each other, and that if you do need help, reach out to people and talk to people. And we're here. And only together can we really, make a difference in each other's lives. And if we're alone, it's harder to do that. Because my mates were there when I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. The same way I was there for them when their relationships turned a bit rough this year. And it's important that people know that there are people out there who will listen to them and will talk to them. And especially with people like in social distancing and feeling disconnected, it is very important that if you have a mate who's reached out, that you do talk. That's just what my heart tells me. But it's a sensitive issue, I acknowledge that. But the current system it's just failed our people. It really has. It really has failed us.
It has.
We need to change. We need to change it.
It's so neglected. It is underfunded. It's not okay. So I just would like to give a bit of an advisory warning, and I will just pop it on top of the chat now. That we are going to be talking about some touchy subjects. So, do apologise, I'm getting a new keyboard in the next couple of days too, so it won't be as loud. And yeah, I want to extend out to everyone, just, you're loved. And I'm in no way religious, but if that's what helps you get through it, then by all means, take that option. Don't feel that you're alone. Go to your church, go to your, place of worship, your mosque. Whatever you feel at home, wherever you feel safe, or wherever you feel your teachers.
I would say too, it's okay to be not okay, because
Exactly.
I would say that this year it's been like I'm having a fantastic time now. I feel 10 out of 10. But earlier this year it was quite shit because of just COVID. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't see my friends. At least for a month, I couldn't actually see my significant other because of the laws they passed. It was illegal for me to see her because she wasn't part of my direct family.
Yeah.
So that was really shit. And it's okay for us just to go, 2020 was a shit year. And it's okay for us to say that, not everyone's going to be having the best time this year.
Yeah, that's it. And I want to extend that, to everyone that you can call me. Send me a message on Facebook, Instagram. Contact me in a live stream. This is what I have at the moment. It is, I would say, an ergonomical keyboard. Very comfy, but it's just, I've had it for like 5 years.
Comfort's important,
Yeah, it is. I'm getting a new keyboard.
Well, we need to look at it actually. Anyway. Talking from a high school, the chairs, they weren't good chairs. Hurt your back. You can see why our kids aren't getting good grades. You know what I mean? It's like they got these plastic monstrosities that they picked up for $20.
Oh,
and it's like your back's arched. But if you get up your little your disclaimer, let's get into this topic.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing the statistics of it, and I'm making sure that the Facebook page isn't going to pop up as well.
We're getting better. Like over time, I'm getting better at live streaming. I actually had it with OBS. I actually played a news clip talking about that corruption stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had it so that I could actually click a scene and it would transition from like this the thing what you're looking at now to like a video that played full screen.
Yeah.
So like
That's
I love live streaming because this is authentic politics, and no one's doing it in politics right now because they're too scared of like being authentic, being themselves. We don't have that because we do speak our mind and we do say what is right because we need that in our country. We need that in government.
I will be very quick. I promise everyone.
No issue.
I'm just trying to set this up so you'll be able to see it, and you'll be able to see us as well.
Well, while you do that, I'm getting some lights ordered. They should come next week. Some proper like filming lights, so that my screen is gonna look so much more beautiful. I'm gonna look more gorgeous than I already am, you know. Because lighting is so like you want to look good on camera. It's about lighting.
Yeah, that's it.
I learned that. You know what I mean?
I'm getting the the mini HDMI cable, so it'll connect to my DSLR and straight into my graphics card. So I should, fingers crossed, be able to then use my DSLR to live stream like a webcam. If not, then I'll have to order a cam link, which is it's a little.
I looked into that. I accidentally bought like a tripod that was too fat for my DSL camera. What can I say?
Yeah. If not, I'll end up buying a new webcam. So, you know, I'll meet halfway if I have to. All right. I'm just gonna make sure that. I just realised.
We're gonna remember like doing this stuff. I'll just talk to the audience while you set it up. But having like this production quality would have been unheard of 10 years ago, right?
That's
like completely unheard of. And we can actually do this now, where that like if I wanted to, and if I had like a few grand, I could actually set up like a film studio that would be similar quality to the actual TV shows you see on the TV. And I can say that because a lot of their film equipment is very expensive because they do have to cut lots of angles.
Yeah.
And they have to actually like upload it while they actually do it. But if I wanted to just do a live stream on my computer, I could have similar production quality, like 4K, high quality, good lighting.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I intend to do that, so I'll send a picture to everyone so next month I'm going to be buying a sitting chair. I run an NVIDIA GTX 970.
Got a 1080.
Yeah, I plan on upgrading eventually.
Business expense. That's what it is.
Yeah, funny that.
Alright, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm just about to transition it now. So we are now looking at the New South Wales Health and Statistics page for Penrith.
Awesome.
You may have to help me a bit here, Finn. I'm a bit slow at the moment. I'm very tired.
Don't worry, it's a Sunday. Right? This is a chill stream. So like if people who watch me notice I'm talking slower, I'm not super fired up and energetic. You're not hearing like the microphone get into like normally like my last stream, the microphone I got so loud that the actual microphone was making popping sounds. So yeah, what I mean, that's why. Okay, so we got the statistics up here.
Yeah, we do.
Up on the screen.
So if that I'll just take down that sensitive subjects one at the moment as well, because it may be in the way.
With OBS, you can just click the button to hide it. Do you know that button?
Yeah.
So it's super easy to do. Do you play CSGO?
I haven't. I've been meaning to. I'd play Team Fortress 2, GTA 5, War Thunder, Train Sim, Farming Sim. Nothing too exciting.
Yeah, I had a post, like I haven't played video games in so long, so I made a post saying if I got 150 likes, I would play a game of CSGO.
I should get it and we can play together.
I'm at 110 likes, so not quite not quite 150 yet. Alright.
Yeah, we should get CSGO and play together. Although I will warn all the viewers that I do have a tendency of swearing.
Yeah, it's video gamer moment, do you know what I mean? You get fired.
Dodge it. War Thunder yesterday I streamed a little bit of it and I just went, I'm gonna change games here. I ended up playing Minecraft.
Back to the topic, I guess.
Yeah, so before I go into my I guess, outpour. So these are the statistics for my electorate for self-harm hospitalizations. As you can see, and just correct me if I'm wrong, it's always been really shit at these tables. You'll see on our left-hand side, you've got, this is per annum, by the way, is the amount of people that, you know, suffer from or end up in hospital due to self-harm issues. Or self-harm, I should say, not issues. But now, here in Penrith, we have a very... It's a sad statistic, and I'll zoom in a bit so everyone can try and see that a little bit better. Sorry, I'll pop it in full screen. So, what you can see here with this is, in Penrith, we have a very high self-harm rate for females. And as much as I do agree that men's health is underrepresented, Penrith has a really great men's walk and talk, where they go out for a community walk and they chat with each other and they open up about their issues. And I think that's on a Thursday night. I have been meaning to go for a walk with them just to, say hello and talk to everyone. Introduce myself a little bit too. And it's a really good initiative, and I really just want to praise everyone for that. Everyone involved in that. You are absolutely amazing people.
Well, like another issue, I guess, it's not related to self-harm, it's more related to mental health, is the issue like without a decline in birth rates. Like you look at the numbers, people are having less kids, and why is that?
Well,
Why for the first time in history are our numbers going down?
I've got a good theory for that, and I think it comes down to urbanisation. Now, you think when the baby boom happened, kids meant money because they could go out and get a job and bring money back. Now you're finding that kids are too expensive because the cost of living goes up.
Well, my opinion, it's just a sign of deep moral sickness, because if you look at, 80 years ago, you could have one person, right, support a family of four, like working a job as a cabinet maker. And now we have a situation where we have two parents, if it's a two-parent household, working to support their kids and scraping by. And it's like people aren't having kids because of the economics. This house I'm in right now, 100 grand in 1999, now it's worth 800 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
So how are young people meant to buy a house? How are you meant to start your family?
And what
I believe it's a sign of moral sickness.
I don't think it's moral sickness. I think it's I won't say it's moral sickness. I think we're in a time now where everyone it's not so much that people want to work, it's that they have to work to be able to live. And to buy a house, you've either got to be on a really good wage, and we're talking 90k and up a year, especially in Sydney, or you've both got to be working, or as a joint have to be earning about that amount. And
what's wrong? I mean, ultimately it means that parents, they can't even look after their kids because they're both working.
Exactly.
Now, I'm not talking about this I'm Catholic, I believe in that more of a conservative relationship, but even removing that context, right? You have a situation where even if you got a stay-at-home dad, you can't have stay-at-home dads, you can't have stay-at-home mums because they both have to work to support their family. And it's is this the country you want to live in, where people aren't having families because of economic issues for the first time in history?
Exactly.
It's about a choice. I'm not saying that it's wrong for you not to have a family. It's your choice, right?
And let's make that very clear, is that we're not saying it's wrong to not have a family. I completely agree.
I don't mind if you want to be child free. It's not.
Yeah, personally, I don't want children. Mainly
I
because
respect that,
I know
right?
what I was like, and I scare myself because I was a little terror.
I was a little shit too, but I've gotten good and I've gotten better. Okay, I'm less
so
of a
am
shit now.
But I also understand how expensive my hobbies are, and I'll just quickly I'll show that in just a sec.
Well, I'd say it's interesting because I think our political perspectives are maybe, I don't know, because I did religion at uni, So
Yeah.
I do sort of take that, not even like organized religion, but just that sort of the religious critique that's made in
Yeah.
some like cases, in that I feel like that the spiritual realm is important in the sense that I feel that from like a spiritual level, the
Yeah.
fact that people aren't having kids due to economics is a sign of a sick country in a moral sense.
Yeah.
I like the train.
Yeah, so this
It's
is one of my hobbies, and this one here, from
Actually, can you flip it to your? I want folks to actually see the train. You know,
yeah, it'll
let's
come
flip
through
it to the
shortly.
actual.
So it's just come through on the live stream. As
Right.
you'll see now, well, as people would have already seen, this is an Australian locomotive from the Hunter Valley region. Those of you that are knowledgeable in trains will know it is from a private coal railway in the Hunter Valley, South Maitland Railways. Sorry, I was just reading a comment there. But this is one of my hobbies. This half metal, half plastic borderline monstrosity cost me $695.
Oh, I respect it. You know, it's like for me, like the more I've gotten older, the more I've realized that money doesn't make me happy, right?
Yeah.
I feel like what makes me happy is family and church and God, from my point of view. And it's okay to disagree. It does sort of annoy me that I do have to because I think a lot of people are very judgy in religion and stuff. And so it does annoy me that I have to make that just stupid disclaimer, right? That I respect your point of view, which I do.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what religion or lack of you are, I respect you. But I feel like just the materialistic side doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm the opposite in that I want like 8 kids. I've decided. I like the idea of having 8 kids
Oh, and that's fair.
because I think the idea of having a large family is good. And in terms of how that relates to politics, you know, it does give me that sort of incentive where I've got to look at the world and got to say what is right for that and that sort of that point of view. And I just feel the current system where young people don't have houses, they struggle to. This is like I started a 6-figure business and I lived with my parents, you know, at one point. So
Yeah.
the fact that even I couldn't get off my feet enough to actually, you know, just shows us the extent of the issue.
Yeah.
And I feel that this has never before happened in history, right?
No.
This sort of another interesting thing to look at. This relates to mental health as well, Jazz, is the fact that I think 40%. There was a survey done by the ABC that like 40% of like people aged like 16 to 24 are virgins, which never before has it happened in human history. Never before.
That's called being
This is
a
the
nerd.
very first time in history we've seen those figures. Why is that? It's because we're isolated from each other. We're isolated from our fellow humans. And I feel that
Which-
technology does have blame.
I'd
in
have
that
to.
sense.
I actually find that very interesting. The only reason I say
Let's
that
pull
is-
it up.
we'll come back. Actually, we'll leave this here and we'll come back to it once we've finished the mental health part of it. But I'll quickly jump on it as I find that interesting, considering in the world of Tinder and all these dating apps that 16 to 24-year-olds are the biggest virgins of the lot.
Yep. No,
But-
it's
It does in a
that's
sense
like
make
this-
sense.
It's like never before in history has that happened, right?
Well, maybe the 16.
No, never before. Like I look
16
at the
to 18 year
statistics.
olds, sort of, but after about 18, it's a bit weird. Japan actually has some of the lowest birth rates in the world.
But the point is, you have sex at something that's very natural and people aren't doing it. And before they were, and only in this particular window of time has it started to happen this way.
Yeah.
Shows that it's a sick, like not sort of a spiritual sickness, not like organized religion, but in the sense that like the national ethos of the country is suffering, and that plays into politics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I think I do take an approach to politics that is very different to the mainstream.
Yeah.
But I feel that like, why is that happening? It's like people aren't connecting to each other. And I feel that, pornographic material does have an impact on that to an extent.
It could do. Yeah, there's a lot of things, and we'll come back to that after. But going back to the mental health thing, as I was saying, and yes, Matthew, women in at least the Penrith electorate, it does show in general that, women do have a higher chance of self-harm hospitalisations. Now, that is not to say that men don't, because I cannot stress this enough that men do. I know that men do. However, it's very disproportionate to say that it's really hard to say because I don't want to make it sound like anyone. Well, it doesn't matter. It
Just
does.
talk from the heart, Chaz. I feel like people understand you're coming from a good place. And like what we have to understand for the people watching this, no fucking politician is going to talk about this. It's too controversial.
Yeah.
It would only hurt them politically. The reason that we're talking about this, they actually do give a shit about the people. They actually do care about you.
That's it.
And that's why we're talking about this very controversial topic that no one else in politics will talk about because they're too concerned about their stupid little political career. We're willing to talk about that. And we're doing it on a live stream where it's not like we can like say it and just not upload it if we say something controversial. We're putting it on the live where anyone can look at it. It's there forever because we genuinely do believe that this is an important issue that no one's talking about, that our mental health system is broken.
Yeah, that's it. And
So I just feel talk from the heart, don't justify yourself, you know? Just talk from the heart.
it'd be very disproportionate to say that men are suffering worse than women in the mental health issue. However, saying that they don't suffer is totally incorrect and inappropriate. Men do have a high rate of self-harm issues, or self-harm hospitalisations, but as we are seeing at the statistics right here, is that women do have a higher issue. Now, I'm not going into the reasoning of that. My only point to that is, out of all the male friends I have, compared to the female friends I've had, I've had more female friends go into hospital for it. I've had no male friends go into hospital for it. Now, I understand you're not attacking Matthew. Now, the reason I think that is the case is because if you think about it, I think it comes from a very egotistical, or not egotistical culture, but a very, it is borderline toxic culture of hold it in, don't tell anyone type thing. You know, don't let it be shown. And I think men take it out more in drinking rather than the way women do of physically self-harming. So men, and you know, I was born a male, I've been down that path, so I understand it, and I think I know why, is because men will play it off as drinking, as playfully, and so when they end up in hospital, they...
Whether they can link it to drinking, in a sense.
That's it, and it's more of an ego and a pride thing for their perspective, is to say, oh, well, I just had too much to drink with the boys, rather than, you know, I was sad and depressed, so I just started drinking.
Or, you know, like behaviour that's, you know, negative to one's health while drinking.
Exactly.
You know, I know mates who have, like, punched glass doors and glass windows and, you know, messed up their arms going to hospital.
I've walked
and
into
even
a glass
in
door
that case, I'm not saying that it's because of, you know, self-harm, but I'm saying that, you know, alcohol could contribute to instances that may be perceived as something rather than self-harm when it does come from that context.
That's it.
But then again, what I want to preface is just say we're talking from the heart and the gut here.
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree,
Oh,
but we do need to talk about it.
It is, that's right. And I really do want people's input, and, you know, I just want to hear what people have to say about this, and I'm just going to... so it doesn't show too much on the methods here, but I did have it. But here is the spreadsheet for it. So, as you can see, you know, 2001 to 2003, there were more males than females that, you know, self-harmed, but as you go into the later years, you'll see that it proportionally jumps, and you'll see a rise in the females doing it. I mean, there's a general rise, and that is the worst part about it, is you're seeing this rise in, you know, rates.
And it's a very sensitive issue to talk about. It's very important that we did that disclaimer, because when you talk about it, you know, it does contribute,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to it.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about this, especially if we're going to go into politics, because in politics we can make solutions to it. And we do have the courage to talk about it. And so I believe that, you know, the benefit outweighs the cost in this particular context.
The benefit of looking after our people is better than outweighs the cost, because the value you place on a life should define you, not The value of
It
life
pisses
shouldn't
me
be...
off, to be honest, because our people are really suffering. You look at antidepressant, usage.
Yep,
It's skyrocketed,
it has.
and people can say that's a good thing because it shows that people are seeking help. Yes,
To a degree,
but if
yes.
we compare it to other countries, we see that we have a disproportionately high rate of antidepressant use.
Yeah,
And
That's
you can
it.
draw a number of conclusions from that. One of the conclusions that I draw from it is that mental health in Australia, and in particular Queensland, is not it's not working.
yeah,
And the only way to fix what doesn't work is you have to investigate it, you have to talk to people. And so my approach with mental health is, number one, the experts are important, but
Yep.
ultimately you have to talk to people who've actually gone through these processes.
that's
We
it.
have to actually talk and we have to enter into these discussions, and the legislation we put forward to amend the current broken bills have to come from a human-centric politics rather than from a top-down. So I'm talking about a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach.
That's it. And again, with having someone who did try to take, this year, I've had 3 people try to take their lives. I have stopped 2 of them.
Well, I've had a friend who took his life, this year, so
Yeah.
it is a very big issue, right?
It's
very
a very
big
big issue.
And they're not talking about it in the establishment. They're not actually addressing this because they're scared. That's what I feel. I feel that it's like in politics, the fact is we don't have politicians who serve the people and who look and protect our national ethos. What they do is they look after themselves and they go, by having a similar sort of conversation like me and Jazz are doing, it's going to cost them votes.
Yeah,
But the reason that we're doing it is because we know that we need solutions, and the only way we can reach
Yep.
solutions is by entering dialogue.
that's
And
it.
we are prepared. Well, I'm prepared to stick my neck out there.
I am too.
I will put my neck out there because we need to help our people.
That's it. Our people are worth more than anything.
Anything, to be honest.
Human lives should be valued in general. There should be no deduction of value. And I know it's very hard to say that with COVID at the moment, what we're seeing human life is just being disregarded to make
We're
sure
also
that
seeing an increase in
economically-
domestic violence as well, another very important issue.
That is a
We've
very
seen,
important
I've talked
issue.
to some police officers who have talked to me about how they're having a lot of, DV calls,
Yep.
right? Another big issue.
And it's very hard to tackle. It is a very tricky
We've only
subject.
actually started to tackle it, have we?
Well,
We
no,
haven't
I don't
actually
think
started to tackle this, like, really as a society and as a people until very recently.
No,
You know
we
what I mean
haven't.
by that?
And it's what it is. It's really about trying to break that. It's trying to find the weakest chain in that link and break it. Because if you can start breaking the chain of links, remember, the strongest point is in your chain is the weakest link.
Well, what I do is I take a more holistic and societal approach, which is it's more of an issue of the state of our country and having a negative state of, like, I talk about architecture and I talk about how the brutalist architecture is spiritually and, dude, it's depressing, right? It's that our actual country itself has a lot of negativity
Yeah,
in both its leaders and its politicians. And if you correct that negativity, then you see from a top sort of down approach, you see the country get healthier and people's mental health improve.
that's
At the same time, we do have to look at it from another point of view, which is breaking the chain. And we do that by being close to our friends and by talking to them and
Yep.
by enacting government programs that make it easier.
changing
So
the
for a lot
edu-
of folks, if you don't live in a city, you might not have a lot of people you can actually talk to about this stuff.
Exactly.
And
That's
so
also,
if we look at the rural versus city divide, we see
Yeah.
there was a lot more instances of, self-harm in our rural areas. And what that means in terms of policy is that we have to put good people, mental health workers, social workers in these communities who are willing to sit down and talk.
that's it. And we really just need to encourage people to be able to talk. And I'll say this a lot.
And by talking about this now, we've shared our personal experiences.
Yeah,
Haven't we?
and I will be very shortly sharing my experiences. I'm not trying to stall from that, by the way, anyone who's watching.
It's important, right? And because ultimately, I feel that my mental health is relatively good. I really do not really feel depressed in the sense that I don't really feel sad often or
Yeah.
really ever, to be honest. And that's quite weird. It's quite weird, but Yeah,
I'd say
I
one
feel a
of the
bit
lucky.
down sometimes, and then like I go to sleep and I wake up feeling great and normal again.
Yeah. I went for a walk, so I actually rode up to Jellybean Pool, which is about 50 minutes away from my place. And I went and took photos, which I've posted on my Facebook page for anyone to have a look at.
Well, getting back in nature is important too, because we're not meant
Yeah.
to be sitting at a desk for 8 hours, 12 hours a day. Our bodies aren't designed for that. Our mental, like our minds aren't designed to be indoors all day. They're designed to be out in nature, to be exercising.
Oh, sorry, I was just reading a comment from Matthew about how a person he served with in
Oh,
the army.
congratulations, Jazz. You got 69 followers too. Great work.
Yeah, funny one. Try to lighten the mood there a bit, hey. So
Well, you got to. This is the thing too. Like, it's okay to laugh too at this stuff, right?
That's it.
Because people deal with this stuff in different ways.
That's
Get what I
it.
mean?
that's
So,
it.
like, that goes back to our earlier point, which is your reaction to this topic. It's legitimate. It's
Yeah.
okay to say 2020 is a shit year with a lot of stupid and bad shit that's happened,
That's an
and it's okay to
understatement.
laugh as well. You know?
That's it. Now, I'm just going to let everyone know I am about to transition it. You will see my face in this. You will see how I react to talking about the issues that I'm going to be bringing up. And I just want to say, Matthew, you are brave for doing that. And all I can say is that if you do need help, please seek it. That is another hard-hit community with mental health is our veterans.
Well, they're being treated like shit. I've
Our
spoken
troops-
to so many veterans.
That's it. Our
They
troops
message
and
me
veterans.
and they've asked me what to do, and I've just said, like, they've gone like, "What are your solutions?" And I go, "Listen, mate, it's not for me to say, really. It's for me to sit down with you and your mates and go, what do you need and how can I help you get it?"
That's it.
You know, because they talk to me about how they go to like psychologists who haven't gone to war, they've been shot at, and they're trying to they try and do this fake empathizing, and they go, do this, do that, and then the guy's like, "Well, you haven't been shot at, have you? You haven't been shot before. How the fuck do you know what it's like?"
That's it.
And so what we have to do, we have to really just sit down and say, we want you to write and we want you to implement policy
That's
because
it.
you know what you need. And we
That's
will help
it.
you, we will
And-
guide you.
One thing I found, kept getting advertisements for it, so I bought a subscription to it and just had a bit of a watch of it. It's called Vet TV. It is American, and
Oh, I think I might have
As-
seen that.
as
Is that
people-
the raunchy humour?
yeah, it's not realistic, but a lot of it is based off what they've experienced, and it is funny. Like, I don't get some of the humour because I'm not a vet, but it is funny, and I think if you cope well with if you handle things well by laughing, then that is definitely one of the best things to do. Is just to watch that and have a laugh.
Well, I'll tell you what really pisses me off. It's this double standard where, like, I went, like, before I got into politics, I went to the military and I went through the, like, officer recruitment.
Yep.
So I wanted to be a military officer in the Army Reserves.
Yep.
Air Force Reserves originally, but there wasn't an Air Force Reserves in of Brisbane. And I didn't actually go through with it, but I did the aptitude test and stuff. And what really pisses me off is the fact that the government expects, for you to join the military, to train, to go overseas, shoot at people, or not, or just do maintenance, etc.
Yeah.
And they expect you to sort of come home and just to adjust to civilian life. In the sense where they take you, they uproot you, they change you in a way, and they put you in experiences that most people or Australians don't experience. And they just sort of go, well, good luck. And I've spoken to veterans about this, and they've told me about their personal experiences, in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Yep.
And they go, well, during combat, I feel fucking amazing. I feel really alive. I feel really, connected and in the zone. And I go back to Australia and I don't have that experience. I feel bored, constantly bored.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I talk to these people and I go, well, the government put you in a position where, like in that high energy position, and they want you to transition to, civilian life, which doesn't have that same emotive translation.
Yeah.
And then they throw you out and they say, good luck, have fun, where we should be really really helping them adjust to civilian life if they need it,
Yeah.
or if they don't, it's okay. But most of them are just listening and just saying, "You've gone through this. It's up to you and your friends to decide what you need,
Yeah.
and we're going to support you to do that."
That's it. It's a shit thing. And you'll see I have put us back on the live stream.
I just noticed I got to look upwards, not look down. I was looking down.
Yeah, look, that's okay. So I will just throw this out to everyone. If we doesn't look like we're not looking at you, the setup we've got is my webcam is there. The screen that I'm
That's
using.
technical difficulties, right? So like I'm watching it back, and I look like I'm just looking at the ground. I'm not like I didn't know our face was. So now, like, look, it looks a lot better because I'm looking at each other.
But yeah, so my webcam's there, and the stream that I use to make sure that everything's going okay through the monitoring of the stream is to my right. So I've got two monitors, and essentially to make sure everything's working, and I can transition and put different things up on the stream, is because it's to my right. So I'm not trying to look away from the camera.
Don't worry, we'll get the hang of it, right? We're doing live streaming, we'll get better. Let's continue. So what were you saying?
I was going to say, by the way, this is my little cup that I've got the soft drink in now because I've given up on the teacup. I wanted to still be sophisticated, but not too sophisticated.
I can talk to you if you want about my theory about politics and mental health. It's very interesting.
Yeah?
Which is who the hell becomes a politician, right? Who wakes up one day and goes, "I want to be a politician.
Me.
I want to be a public figure." I'll get to it. So my gut feeling is quite simple. Why do we have so many bad bastards? And there's a lot of sexual predators in politics, and we've seen the news articles. I have my own personal experiences. They get covered up. Women get told, we're going to run this bloke as a candidate. Will you go forward and talk about your experiences if we do this? Will you feel compelled? And so my idea is, who lasts in politics? People who can take criticism.
Yep.
People who are willing to be confident, put their neck out there. The fact that I'm 20 and I have had a lot of business experience, I'm confident. Yeah. But people whose neurochemistry is not neurotypical, I believe, because if you're an average bloke, you just go, "I'm just sick of the bullshit. People just shit talking me. Half the population hates my guts. I'm not going to do it." And so you have a lot of people on that cluster B personality spectrum.
Yeah.
You got your sociopathic, narcissistic, bipolar people who are able to perform these roles better. And an implication of that is that people have less empathy. I feel politicians, as a generalized basis, have less empathy.
Yeah, they. And look, I'll admit, I'll be the first one to admit that I don't have much empathy for a lot of our politicians because I don't feel that they have the empathy for the people.
Well, exactly right. And so the point I was trying to make, though, is that if you have a good person who just, like, we've seen it, right? We've seen all these good politicians who just, they resign. All these women who get forced out of parliament, and they get replaced by men.
Yeah.
If they just go, "You know what, this is this sexist culture of bullying and misogyny. This is fucking bullshit. I'm out. It's not worth it. My mental health is at risk. My family is, suffering. I'm not going to do it anymore."
That's it.
And the people who can withstand that pressure often are people who have less empathy, or they have some personality, distinction. And the implication of that is that they have less empathy. And some of them are really bad bastards who will screw you over and act corrupt.
Yep, that's it. And I'll be the first one to say this as well, is I think I think I have a bit of an advantage with politics. Now, I am very open about, who I am. I am trans.
They can't use it against you if you're open, right? That's what's beautiful,
That's
if you're open about it, what are they going to say? They're going to say, "Well, I know, I told." It's when you cover it up. So the fact that we do these live streams, right, we are literally talking to people for hours. Yeah. No political candidate does that. No one actually lets the public into their lives just to have talks.
That's it.
Because it opens up for risk. But for us, it's a double-edged sword where if we actually get elected, and when we do get elected, I got no doubt, the people will elect us with the full knowledge of who we are as people.
That's it.
And that gives us a position of power and strength where we can actually stand up with the trust of the people behind us.
That's it. And, well, we'll move on now, and I'll sort of get into the part of the reason that I am so strong on mental health. Now, I'm only 19 years old. I turn 20 next weekend. Actually,
Congrats, mate.
next Sunday, if I'm No, not next Sunday. In 2 weeks on Saturday. So Saturday 29th of August, I'll do a live stream. I'll end up...
I'm doing a live stream where I'm going to cut my birthday cake on my 21st next month.
That's it. Well,
do one too, cut your birthday cake.
That's it, I will. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go down to Nepean River, depending on weather. I'll bring the laptop, we'll stream it, so everyone will be able to join virtually. I'll do a bit of a barbecue and with a couple of close friends, and the bike. And I'll give a bit of a speech and whatnot, and, say hello and everyone can join in sort of thing. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Moving on to why I'm so strong about, why I'm just so focused on youth health. I haven't had a hard life as such. Like, don't get me wrong, it could have been worse. But I haven't exactly had an easy life. Being trans and growing up, so I've known since I was maybe 9, 10, which is a reasonably young age, and a lot of people will dismiss it as ADHD or...
I don't know, like, I got ADHD, but I just sort of feel like there's a reason why, like, I had a 6-figure business, people consider me successful, I guess, and there's a genetic reason why we have these traits, right?
Yeah.
Because they were literally passed down from that primordial time of hunting and gathering. And so the way I see it, I'm a fighter, that's what I am, and,
Yeah. See, I'm not a physical fighter, but
I'm talking about mentally. Your neurochemistry is wired for conflict in a way, or just that ability. Like, we're running for parliament, Chaz, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
it's like, what 19 and 20-year-old people runs for parliament? Because they go, what's happened is bullshit, and we need change. We just stand up for the people. Right? Of course, we have neurochemistry that isn't typical.
Yeah. Mine's definitely not. I'm a strange person. I'll eat past a plane. There you go. I'm a bit of a psychopath.
No, you're not a psychopath.
No,
I like you, honestly. Like, there's a reason why I have you. Like, I keep talking to you, right? I enjoy talking to you.
You stream with me, and
Well, your heart's in the right place. I know it. I can feel it in my own heart, right?
Yeah.
And if I could tell if you were just a grifter or scammer, your heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
And that counts for a lot.
That's where I want it to be. And sorry, Finn, to cut you off, but going back.
No, cut me off, okay? This is your story.
Gonna make it all about me.
Cut me off, okay? I'm okay. Just cut me off when you need to.
That's it. I'm just going to make it all about me for the next 15 minutes.
Go for it.
Look, my first sort of memories of knowing was probably... Actually, I wouldn't even... I'd say a bit younger even, maybe about 8. In primary school, I had a lot of female friends. Actually, I had a lot of female friends in primary school. And from kindergarten, I remember always being that really empathetic, supportive friend. I was probably also a bit of an asshole as well. You get that with people. And I remember going up through high school, and in about year 4, things started to change. I don't mean physically, I just sort of mean with the mentality of school. Everyone was starting to grow up that little bit, and... Eat past thanks. So, year 4, I started to do dancing. So I used to do tap, jazz, hip-hop, and a little bit of ballet and contemporary, which I did start up again late last year, but due to work commitments I had to stop round about this year, and COVID didn't help. That was a bit of a compounding factor. Now, in saying that, year 4 I did start dancing, so I was very energetic, very flexible, and I joined the school netball team, and I was the first and only male to join within the area. Actually, I think it was most of New South Wales. I was only one of the main... I was the first male to play in the district, at least anyway. And I always held the centre, wing defence and wing attack positions, because I was this short little, energetic thing that could duck and weave under all these tall girls, and I didn't grow much from there, so I was never great at goal shooting, but I was definitely good at ducking and weaving. And please don't take that metaphorically for how I answer questions. That's mean.
It's okay, mate.
But yeah, so from there, from doing that, I did get picked on quite a bit by the other guys at school because they were all into soccer and rugby and football, and I wasn't, so I was the odd duck. However, it did give me a bit of immunity because in saying that, I remember one specific occasion I just finished, so the netball teacher, teacher that coached it was away, and it was our training day and we had a game the next day, and I stood up, I had a whistle because being involved in, or having a passion in the railways, you get those sort of things. So I had a whistle and I pretty much coached the team for that day. And I sat down and I started getting picked on by some of the guys. And then when I looked up, I had a group of girls, and I can't remember their names now, but they were a lovely group of girls, turn around and pretty much stand up for me. It was sort of that...
It's good.
Yeah, it was. It was really good to see that, and it made me feel good about myself anyway. And it was sort of that moment in life where I did start to realise I was interested in politics. Later on that year, I did get beaten up quite badly, and I do have a bit of an issue from that. And I don't really talk about
fights
it.
are shit.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I didn't even defend myself. I just sat there and took it.
Like, I remember when I was in high school, some kid tried to bully me, and so I just punched him in the face the next day. And weirdly enough, we became sort of mates afterwards, right? But
funny that, isn't it? See, I haven't even got to high school yet, and for
yeah,
Pearl it gets interesting.
Yeah, shall we just shut up, okay, if you need to?
No,
But I feel like just high school is shit for a lot of people, you know?
oh yeah, high school's just shit.
Well, not in primary school, shit too. It's not.
Yeah,
You know,
primary
it's-
school for me was alright. I do remember being told before I left high school that, oh, you'll regret leaving and you'll miss high school. I don't. So all those people that said that to me, I do not miss high school. I miss primary school. It was a lot more fun.
It was weird for me in high school. Like, I spent really the last 2 years doing business.
Yep.
Does that make sense? So, like, I got a lot of slack because I was doing a 6-figure business, and like they knew about it at school, and so they gave me a bit of slack if I showed up late because I did a late night business call.
Yeah, I'm not good on you for that. I was a volunteer at the Zigzag Railway from about the age of 14 onwards, so every Saturday, free of charge, I would go up. I'd be up at 4:30 every Saturday morning, and I would get on the Blue Mountains train and I would be at Zigzag for 8:45 every day, or every Saturday. And I did that up until I was about 18. Then I dropped off a bit because it got a bit too much with work and that.
I did Army Cadets. I did that for 2 years, and I dropped off to in high school.
So yeah, anyway, we'll move on to high school. So finishing up primary school, lose the friends, went to a private school. I won't name the school because I don't want to be sued.
Yeah, you got to be careful with libel and shit. You know what I mean? I find like when elected to parliament, we can be a lot more loose, but at the moment we got to be more careful. Libel laws, because if we do get like a false lawsuit, defend ourselves, go bankrupt, we're ineligible to run for parliament.
Yeah, that's it. Somehow, yeah, we'll go into that later. So yeah, starting in high school, year 7, I made a couple of friends. We were gamers, and I was really starting to realise who I was as a person, and it was very conflicting because I was around quite a lot of men now, and I didn't really fit in to any group. I was in a group of friends. There's about 4 of us that were sort of close. We used to play Minecraft and War Thunder and that together, and we just used to sort of attack each other, and not physically, just sort of like banter, high school banter, I'll say.
That is an interesting thing, isn't it, about culture,
It is.
Australian culture? Because it can be really mean shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? But, like,
It can be absolutely brutal, but everyone will walk away.
and there's also
laughing.
that sort of like, I don't know, that homoerotic side of it too, which is like,
Oh, yeah.
not for me, but you see like guys doing really like homoerotic stuff.
No homo.
And they're doing
No
it while
homo.
they're saying, bro, no
Yeah.
homo, man, like really
That's
derogatory gay stereotypes. And I'm like, well, it's okay if you're gay, man, I don't care, but
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you tugging his pants down?
Yeah, it's like You sure?
Like, it's
you're
okay
not?
if you're gay, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, but like, you know.
And you know what? Oh, sorry, I'm just reading a comment here. And decked one of them in the face. They didn't do it again. Look, I admire your I really admire your enthusiasm there, Dakota.
Yeah, Danny.
I really do. I think it's
Well, I tell you, this is weird, but with like people, they talk about bullying, right? They go, talk nice to your bully, ignore him. That's bullshit. Physically assault him. Well, I mean, I probably shouldn't say someone for apartment, but like if someone bullies you, you know, smack them in the face. And for me, I don't necessarily know if it was like about. I feel like it's more just about like testing someone,
yeah.
and I feel that the fact that I responded, and we just sort of looked at you and we just said, you know what, the petty shit that we disagreed isn't really that big of a deal anymore. And like, you know, because they made us talk and stuff, which that's what a good school does, right? Because they go sit down and talk to the person you've got an issue with, and see if you can work it out. So we did that, and we just said we got a lot in common. There's no reason to be pissed off at each other. I'm sorry for, you know, whacking you in the face. He's like, I'm sorry for, you know, shit talking you a lot. And we just said, all right, let's play footy. You know what I mean?
I mean, I never took the violent path. I was always a very... Actually, I won't say plastic. I had a red hot temper, and God, if you got me started, I went absolutely ballistic. But
that's not to say, like, I mean, I just got to press quickly cut in because we're doing a live stream, so we're being authentic. So I maybe don't physically assault your bully, okay?
Yeah.
Wink, wink. You know what I mean?
Don't make me flash it up on
You know
the
what
screen.
I mean?
But do not do this at home.
Do not do it.
People.
But if when I got my 8 kids, I'll tell them to do it. So
yeah,
I can't tell you what to do.
That's it. Please don't go around smacking people just because
Don't
they
go
said
around.
something.
Don't smack people. Don't schmack them. You know.
Exactly. Just give them a warning. No.
See if you can work it out with words first, okay?
Yeah,
Use
try
your
and be
words.
diplomatic.
Because keep in mind, I would have been 14. I would have been like 14 years old. So I wasn't very mature in the head when I did this. Okay? So give me some slack. I was 14.
It's interesting.
Hormones, you know, puberty.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting you say that though, Finn, because my parent, like my mother, was very evil. Not to me, but she was just evil because she was more macho than most people, and she just used to turn around and tell me, "Go smack him in the head." Go, you know.
Well, it works because people don't pick on people who hurt them. You know what I mean? It's like if you
Yeah,
imagine
you're very much
your
right.
mates.
Don't get me
And
wrong.
maybe it's another issue if they're like a gang of them, right? But it's
Yeah.
like if you're just shit talking this person, you kind of get some fun if you're a bully. But then if the person you're shit talking beats you or whacks you in the face, hurts you, you're probably not going to continue to do it because then you just whack him. You know
That's
what
it.
I mean?
And I had a really good instance of this while my short stint in private education, and it was with a kid that was smaller than me, and he just used to talk shit, and he used to get a bit physical. And one day he just really, really pissed me off, and I turned around, I can't remember what I said to him, but it pissed him off just as much. So he came up and went to shove me, and I've just grabbed his hands like that. Mind you, he's smaller than me, so I could fit both his wrists in one hand.
Yeah.
And I just started walking backwards. I didn't hit him, all I did was grab his hands above his head and just pushed him backwards. And then he went to kick me. So I got my free hand, grabbed his leg, and just sort of dropped him on his ass.
Well, I would say too, like when I was in primary school, I feel like I would say like I bullied some kid, right? But like I was calling this kid names and stuff. I thought it was funny. I didn't genuinely realize that it was upsetting him, which sounds fucking stupid when you look back at it, right?
Yeah.
But at the time when I was like 12 years old, I did not see that my actions were having an impact.
Yeah.
And so when they sat me down, they said, this kid's been crying because of what you've said. I said, holy shit, that's really fucked. And so I apologized and I became friends.
Yeah.
So I do feel like at a certain age, you don't actually understand because like it's new. It's never happened before. And you need to have a learning experience.
Yeah.
And for some people, that could mean getting punched in the face to learn that, you know, back off, you're not making this person happy. For others, it's about talking.
Yeah.
And for others, it's about being sat down by a parent or by a mentor or by a teacher and just saying, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And
look,
I thought that was a very big learning experience of my life because it taught me that words matter. What you say to people matters, and it can hurt them more than physical stuff.
exactly. And that, or it'll end up with you being smacked square in the face.
But continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And that was the sort of end of that kid. He sort of gave up after that. But I had this other kid. He was tall and lanky, but he wasn't heavier than me. So he used to try and hurt me. I don't know why. We sort of got along, but I ended up. He was double jointed, and so am I. So what he used to do was try and get me, in the back of
Jeez.
my arm behind my back. But he used to keep doing it, and he could never figure out why it never caused me any pain. And one day he did it to me, so I just turned around, headbutted him, and did it back. He didn't
But that's
stop
so
it.
I feel like human beings, it's like when you go, like, what is school? What is education? It's a place where you learn, where you're socialized to
That's
learn
it.
values.
That's where you
And
learn.
part of that is being put in contact with other people from different backgrounds who there is inevitably going to be conflict because you're working out who you are as a person.
That's it.
And from that position, I think it's